Hi there, I'm Pedro, and this is the 10x Your Character podcast, a dialogue experience in which I interview millennials and post-millennials from different backgrounds with the goal to inspire you to become a responsible individual in society.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.
Hey there, Pedro speaking with episode 5 of 10x Your Character. Can't believe, guys. 5 episodes. Honestly, I cannot even believe I made it this far, but I'm super proud of the fact that I took the courage, I made the decision to start something that was in my heart. And I'm super excited for today's episode because it's honestly the most important thing in my life, and I think that in the lives of others as well, which is relationships. Today's episode is with Kainan Pires. He's been a mentor of mine for the past couple years. He's a digital marketer. He has his own agency, helps small local businesses and also online businesses just increase their clientele. And today's topic is the power of relationships and why it's so important in our lives for us to be surrounded by the right people. And what does it mean, to be a good person to others, and how do we differentiate if someone is good or not to us, and vice versa. I think it's something that it's been in my heart. It's something that we are all, in the pursuit of. We all get hurt by people a lot of times, and sometimes we get afraid and we isolate ourselves. But I don't think that's the right approach. I think that we can become better than that and find people that are good for us and be good to others. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. It's very detailed, filled with knowledge, and make sure you apply it into your life. So let's get right into it, guys.
Hope they won't shoot me down.
Hey Kenan, how's it going, man?
Hey Pedro, I'm doing well. How are you, bro?
No complaints. I'm excited for today's episode just because, you've been a good mentor of mine. You've shed a lot of light into my life. So I think that by the discussion of today, which is the power of relationships, we're going to have a lot of good stuff to talk about, especially for millennials and post-millennials. But before we get into the topic, give us a little background of who you are, just so the listeners can get to know a little bit more of you.
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm originally from Brazil. I moved to the U.S. like 5 years ago, came to pursue. So it's a funny thing, back 5 years ago, the digital world wasn't that big. So the reason that I came to the U.S. was to kind of explore more I do personally digital marketing. So there wasn't a school in Brazil that could teach me what I was looking for. So the reasons that I came here was because of that. But the first step was learning English. So I didn't go straight to school. I had to learn English first. So I've been living here for 5 years and opening my own business, and that's it. Married. I don't know what to tell you more.
That's good. That's enough. Let's get right into it, so we don't waste anyone who's going to be listening to this. The first point that I want to go into, it's why are new relationships in your life so important, not just the ones you currently have, right? Why is it important to get to know more people, engage with a community or a group of people, meet people from different backgrounds? Why is it so important for the individual to do that?
Right. So I kind of didn't know, back in Brazil, I think I always had the same friends, the same environment. And I kind of didn't realize until we get here. So I started going to English school, and I started seeing so many people from different backgrounds and countries. And it kind of made me see the world in a bigger view, I would say, bigger perspective. So a funny thing was having a guy in my class from Saudi Arabia. But he with girls, they're wearing those scarf and stuff over them, and it made me see we don't have that things in Brazil. You know what I mean? We don't see that often. So just seeing these people made me realize, I'm missing so much of the world, and I'm being living the same life, and it kind of gave me I started to explore a little bit more. So I think what made me realize that I needed just literally leaving my comfort zone. And seeing people as I said, like a different background, but like in a way that nothing. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, because the funny thing is when we talk about comfortable zones, a lot of people just think in terms of like, let's say, career choice or exercising. But sometimes the reason why you can be comfortable is because you've remained with the same environment of people in your life, and those people are also comfortable, and they're repeating the same exact things that you're doing on a daily basis. So the way to get out of that comfortable zone, instead of just starting to go to the gym, maybe to find people that go to the gym so that they can put that, I guess, discipline into you. Because if everyone in your life, let's say if your goal is to go to the gym and everyone in your life does not go to the gym, you're not going to have any support when you're not feeling like going to the gym. But if you have friends that go to the gym and they keep you accountable, the chances of you starting to commit are going to be a lot higher than if you didn't have people like that in your life. So
yeah, I totally relate, because like as I said, the transition to the US was like, while like looking back now, like I just had people around surrounding me, like they would literally just agree with what I was doing. So like one of the like our hangouts would be like smoking pot the whole day, and like no one ever came and say it was wrong, even though I say this thing, not judging it out, but I see that as a wrong thing, a waste of time. But looking that, no one came and told me it was wrong. Yeah. All the friends that I have around me, they was like, they all agreed. They would do that. They were doing that with me. So like just changing, like as I said, like getting out of my comfort zone. What I mean by that, like just seeing the life differently. From
putting you in uncomfortable situations, like maybe going to a meetup and meeting new people and talking to them and seeing what more there is to life and what's going on in people's lives, instead of just being this small little part of the world with the same people repeating the same activities over and over again.
Yeah, I think like even though like you're doing the same things and our lives are so dynamic, things change a lot, but we don't change. You know what I mean? Things are always like, you see technology now, like it's being like being around us like for 20 years, and it changed so much every day. And like, why are we not changing it? You know what I mean? I feel like just being...
We're dealing with the same problems.
Right.
Like, let's say like loneliness, depression, lack of character, lack of integrity, and it's still like, even though the dynamic of the world in terms of technological landscape or whatever it may be are changing, it seems like the more virtue, like focused on the individual when it comes to like how you live your life, those aspects are never evolving or never actually changing in terms of people making decisions differently than they did in the past.
Right. Like we literally choose isolation all the time over people. So like the word's taking us like the word tells it that just be alone, because people they have flaws. So it's literally, they tell, hey, why would you spend your time like with people if you can be with yourself, someone you know, someone you're comfortable with. And like we always looking for that. So everything we do, like going back to technology, Netflix, whatever, those like tools like are making us, bringing us like the I don't know how, I don't want to get it. So like they create a thing where, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do I get it? I don't know where I'm going to get through it. So the isolation part, I
get what you're saying. Like, for example, it's much easier to be with yourself and see all your flaws and deal with it than now you're engaging with people on a daily basis, and not only now that you have just your flaws, you have other people's flaws.
Right.
But at the same time, two are better than one, because now you can help each other carry each other's burden.
Right, but like what? That's the thing. Like the direction that you're pointing to right now is isolation. You see young people, they like, how many memes you see online? Like, oh, people call me, but I prefer stay at home, staying with myself. So like these things like are helping us to become like isolated in a bad way, because you cannot know yourself if you don't have people around you. You cannot know who you are if you don't have people giving you feedback all the time, because you're
Yeah,
just
I guess
literally
it-
living through your own perspective. And like, bro, you deal with emotions every day, so these emotions like dictating who you are, and like you cannot dictate who you are, because your emotion is gone 20 minutes later, that emotion specifically, and later on you have a new one that, like, if you're guided by that, you're like, you don't have no identity at all. That's what I think.
You're so right, because we have blind spots, and usually when we find out what those blind spots are, it's because people tell us.
Right.
So if figuring out what those blind spots are the necessity in order to grow, if overcoming those blind spots are the things that we need to do continuously to better ourselves, the only way for us to even do that will be if we have people in our lives to tell us those things. And that's comes back, I think we can start the second point here, which is a great start for this. It's how do we know if the people in our life are good for us? Because if you have a friend in your life that can see those blind spots but they don't point it out to you, are they really your true friends?
Are they? Yeah. That's like, is literally saying that, because like, I don't know, like I'll go a little bit like earlier, and we kind of like the first relationships we had when you were younger, like a child, whatever, they were parents, right? So like, think about the first relationships in your life. So if you like, literally it's like your parents, your brothers, and whatever you have in your life living with you at that house, and that's the only reference that you have from a relationship, right? And like, think about the way you're treated by them. So there was so much, even though you don't agree with a lot of things your mom or your dad did in the past, there was no love. All they did was love. And it kind of like, it get the love, and what do you do with that love? You know what I mean? So
You
like,
keep it all to yourself.
keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
And like, it's kind of like, right now you're ready to the world, like you turn 15, 16, whatever, you start having real relationships. Because I don't see myself, I remember myself like going back to my friend. I had like a real friend when I was around 15, 16. Like, before that, it wasn't like a real friend. You know what I mean? It was something like, it was a buddy that would hang out, but I wouldn't share my stuff. We always live the present over what's going on. Like, they're playing video game, but I wouldn't talk. There wasn't a lot of talk.
Yeah.
Was-
No one knew. It was like, I feel like so many relationships are so superficial, and I don't even know if you can call that relationships, because I mean, I guess you can define relationships in different ways, but to me at least, a relationship is someone that not only does life with you, but it's a he or a she that is willing to look at you and see that there are flaws and point them out if it's time to point it out in a compassionate way, because they love you at the end of the day, if they're a true friend or husband or wife, and they're not going to allow you to settle for who you are, because they know of who you could be. They're not going to let you be the least version of yourself and stay in your hardships or your failures, because they see more to you even when you don't see it.
Right, you're defining like moms, right? Like, you do something wrong, they don't define you by what you did. She trusts in you. She trusts you can be better than that.
Yeah. I mean, of course, she will point it out and be like, because there needs to be some sort of judgment in the aspect of like, you did something wrong and you need to acknowledge that, because the only way for you not to repeat it is to know that you did something wrong.
Right.
But at the same time, they will like hate the sin, not the sinner, right?
Right.
They won't hurt, they will still love you unconditionally. And I feel like that's such an important aspect of relationships, and it comes down to something that I feel like a lot of people miss, which is, we are talking right now, let's say, how do you know that the people in your life are good for you? How about you ask yourself a different question? Are you a good person to the people in your life?
Right.
Because so much, I think, especially in this generation, and I think it brings the most negative effects and more depression, more, I guess, dissatisfaction with life, unclarity, is you focus too much on yourself. It's like, what do people do for me? What would my job bring in terms of fulfillment to me, I, right? It's like, I feel like we need to turn the scenario and be like, Okay, it's important for you to feel good too, because you're an individual and you matter. But before you think of yourself, before you ask people to treat you in a certain way, why don't you bring that trait to the table first? If you want someone to treat you nice, are you treating other people nice?
Right.
Because that's the funny thing. People talk about, oh, I was mistreated, and then they go to the restaurant and they are rude to the waiter. It's like, are you sure you're not attracting the same relationships in which you are? Because that's why those relationships, you're still in self-destructive or relationships that are abusive, because you keep choosing that scenario for you because you don't treat yourself better.
Right. And like so it literally the relationships you have, like, they shape who you are. And like and what was the question again? Like how
do we know if the people in our
Yeah.
life are good for us?
Yeah, so like you touched on like a nice point. You just look at yourself first and see how are you who you think are you good? And like are you like what are you doing? And like I always bring it up like as an example when I was younger. I met a guy and we friends now, and like he kind of taught me a way to see friendships, which was he literally like look to my life and is he Kainan a good person to be in my life now? So he looked at me in a way that I think everyone should do it, because like as we were talking about before, do you really know who you are? Do you really know what you want? Because you bring people to your life that sometimes like you think they're friends, they're not at all. They're just like, you know what I mean? They're just using you. You don't know. That's the thing. I think the first step to really know if someone is good in your life is knowing more about yourself. Know like if you can say no, know who you're bringing to. So this guy kind of taught me in a way that he just pointed out all my the way he sees me. So he said, "Hey, Kainan, I'm hanging out with you because you're like I know you have a full-time job. I know you're married. I know you have some responsibilities in your life, and I kind of want to relate with you because I think you're gonna do well for me because I'm in, like a season in my life that I want to grow, and I'm in a season in my life that I want to see. I want to be like I want to marry someone. So like he was not using me in a bad way. He was being smart in order to see himself like, hey, I gotta bring people in my life that I want to be or that I want to make me a healthy guy.
Yeah, exactly. It comes back to the first point. Like, okay, you're trying to, let's say in that case, you're trying to commit to a person, like a loved one, and you want to find this person. Are you gonna still hang out with your 16-year-old friends who think that to have fun is to go out to the club and just have one night stands with the girls all the time? Or are you gonna find men that are loyal to the people in their life, and they rather commit to a loved one and see commitment as the biggest showing a method of love, instead of just this pleasure of romanticism that, okay, it's part of love, the relationship, but it's not all there is to it. So you gotta decide, and that's what you said. It's completely true. It's like, and that goes back to you. What do you want? It's like, what do you want from people, from that relationship? Okay, I want someone that's loyal. I want someone that's has character, someone that's honest to themselves and people around them. Okay, are you that person? Because if you aren't, you're not gonna attract those people. Because look at what he said. He wants to be in a relationship with you because he sees all those good aspects of you, right? He has those aspects,
so he can see it. He can look for it.
He can look for it. He knows what he wants because you know he is. Too many people just get in relationships and I'm using you, you're using me.
Right. But the point I want to get is like, you're never gonna know 100% who you are. You know what I mean? That's the tricky thing. People think, oh, you got it already. You know who you are. No, you're like, as we talked before, it's like a dynamic life. We're looking for, like, I see myself sometimes like, all right, I want to get to a point in my life just to get comfortable and not do anything else. But what about it? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? What are you gonna do later? So we have like these goals that, because if you go like the end of the goal is like just to get comfortable and just to not do anything else. You know what I mean? But like that's wrong, because like we have such a dynamic life.
Life is uncertain.
And you're wasting because you're reaching a goal where you want to get comfortable and stay at home doing nothing, counting your money or counting your relationships or your
But
women.
it's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
It's that's delusional. Like it's like I think the first aspect to figuring out a fulfilling life
Right.
is to understand that there's nothing though that is for certain,
Right.
because there's so much uncertainty even in our relationships. Like you and me, we can be hanging out and we can say we're gonna do things, and I can flake on you the last minute.
Right.
You can That's outside of your control. You're not gonna be able to reach a spot in your life in which you're gonna be secure. Oh, money's coming in, I have the greatest relationships, nothing's healthy. Well, everything's healthy, my body, my mental, my spiritual. Something's gonna happen, man. It's part of the human nature. For you to run from that, it doesn't show actually strength, it shows weakness, because you're trying to run from the reality of existence. But I think you touched so many good points, which, like, you need to start figuring who you are, what you want from these relationships, and then bring that into the relationship before you ask someone to bring it in. Take the first initiative. Be the person you want people to be to you, right? And
it's a hard task, bro. It's not easy. You know what I mean? Like, you all have your
flaws,
and like, even though your background, you know what I mean? Sometimes you're like, you gotta force some things. You know what I'm saying? People are afraid to say it. Sometimes it might sound a fake thing, but you have to force it, man, because you already know who you want to be. Like, what I mean, who you want to be is like figuring out who you are. Like going deep there on your thoughts, your soul, bro, and like bringing out the things that are real to you. You know what I mean? Just
the essence. It's in your essence, yeah.
And like, it's a hard task, and it might take you a whole life. That, you know what I mean? It's not a thing that I got it, who I am. No, like it's like, and you need relationships to kind of figure out who you are. They're like your roadmap as well. You know what I mean? Like my wife she teaches me how. She sees me, like she sees me as a way that I don't see myself, first of all. And when she's guiding me through that, because she knows it can be better, and she knows like where my heart is like pointing towards to sometimes. So like these guys, like these people, which doesn't have to be a lot. Like people think, oh, I have 1 million followers on Instagram, and like I gotta have a lot of friends. The relationships are important, and sometimes, bro, like 3 is enough. 3 people, 3 friends.
You can have like 20 friends. It's never gonna work. You don't have time in your lifestyle to spend quality time every week with 20 people. And right. you can't share your heart with 20 people, like your whole lifestyle and everything that's going on with you, because it's just not going to work. Like 2-3 people are, like, I would say, essential. Like, of course you can have a community of people that you engage with. But I think in terms of real close relationships, it's not about quantity, it's about quality.
I understand what you're saying, but like there are some things that, so like when you have a quality time, like with my friends, I like going deep. You know what I mean? So
yeah, of course.
So like I can have like a deep moment. You know what I mean? So let's say we're meeting at 8 p.m. on a Saturday, and like, all right, as soon as you sit like there, let's get deep.
Yeah,
but like things are not like that sometimes. You can't get deep all the time. You know what I mean? So like I kind of want to sometimes to have like the quantity time. You know what I mean? To like, because within these quantity times, like you can get deep.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, because I have some friends, like it took a while to get that deep. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't. It's like,
it's not an
easy
different
thing.
It's different for everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's important, and it brings me to, I think, the most important thing that we need to understand in our lives, which is community. It's finding a place where you can, in a way, be so vulnerable and be accepted by the people that compose the community.
Right.
And they do the same thing because they see that you're vulnerable, so they feel comfortable to be vulnerable themselves, and that each individual that composes that community, their goal is to help each other grow and become their best version of themselves. I really do believe that community is the spot, and one of the greatest gifts that we humans were given, to create character, strong character. not just, honesty, but strength, or going the extra mile for the sake of people. To think of bigger than just yourself, to love people for their sake and not just yours. To and things like that. The community has taught me that. How do you think community in your life, or how do you think why do you think it's important for individuals, and if so, why?
Yeah, I think like everyone has this sense of like belonging, right? Everyone wants to belong. Everyone wants like be part of something. Whatever, like go to in the US here, you have like a membership for literally everything. For like a grocery, like Costco, you gotta be a member, and people get it. People want it. People want to be part of it. I think that's why it makes like Costco so successful. It's like a sense of belonging there, like is kind of exclusive. You know what I mean? It's
I'm a
easy
member,
to get,
yeah.
easy to get it. But I belong to there. Like you're talking about, it's a part of me. You know what I mean? And I think like that's what we always like. I did back in I have bachelor's in marketing and propaganda in Brazil, and there was a funny thing. Like we were studying in class, there was like Maslow was kind of like a guy who kind of study a lot of behaviors, like the psychology of it, and he had like como que é pirâmide em inglês? Pyramid, whatever. Like, and he would like sense, hey, there's like physiologic stuff that is the first, is the base of the thing. So how like what type of products do people really need it? So let's say toilet paper is the thing that everyone needs it. It's like like you need it. Like water, you need it. There's some things you can't live without it. Food, necessities. And the third one, I don't remember what was the second one, but I remember like belonging, being part of a thing is the third one. So everyone has this sense. The guy studied like behavior, and he understood that belonging, being a part of something, is something that every human being needs to be like, has it inside them. So like
they won't feel complete without it.
They won't. Yeah, there's not. It gotta make part of anything, bro. Like Costco is like the stupidest thing. Like
start with Costco, guys.
Yeah. So like, it's a crazy thing to thinking like, and I of course I think communities like play such an important thing in your life. There's no way that you gotta like your life cannot be you're gonna arrive. You know what I mean? You gotta bring some couples, and like with those couples, you're gonna learn more about you, about your wife, about people, and like starting going to a bigger community. I think like community literally has changed my life. Has gave me like it is giving me like such a like understanding about people, man, in general, and like just going to I have been part of a community. And it's been challenging, I'll tell you, as well, because I faced myself a lot over there, and like people,
it forces you to commit,
forced me to see who I am. So I am like kind of serving people all the time. So like, am I like, you know what I mean? Should I be here? I could be somewhere else. Look, so that's what I told you before. Sometimes like the part of forcing yourself to be greater, I think it's huge. And the people sometimes they think everything should come natural, you know what I mean? But I don't think like that. So like I don't get there, because like when you say you don't get there, it's like I didn't get it yet. It will come.
Look, let's show an example that proves your point is exactly correct. It's like, you should go to the gym. You're not gonna wake up in the morning and want to go to the gym. It's not gonna come natural to you. You think you're gonna dream. Or before bed, you're going to be like, I'm going to wake up so excited to go to the gym tomorrow. You're going to wake up tomorrow, you're going to be like, the last thing I want to do is go to the gym. It's not going to come natural. Maybe one day you're going to get a bonus at work, and you're going to start dating your girlfriend, and your best friend says that he truly believes in you. And then that day you're so excited, just positive stuff is happening in your life. Maybe you'll going to the gym will come naturally to you. But on the days that you lost your job, you lost your relationship, there's no one to be next to you. You think going to the gym will come naturally, or you're going to have to force yourself?
Right. And like that's the thing that's what, again, the word tells. Like, I'm not like you say, let's go to the gym. I'm not that type of guy. I don't go to the gym. Like, it's not in me. Like, we're never going to be in you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to, you got to say, like, I'm not committed. I'm not the guy that you gotta say, but I have so much on my plate now. I don't want to be at the gym, but like, be real with yourself. Like, we go back to the first point where learning about yourself is such an important thing because it's your foundation, man. It's literally your foundation. You can't go anywhere without knowing. Like, learning how to say no is like the biggest thing in your life. Not agreeing with, like, just pointing out anything with your friend. If he says you, hey, I think that, no, I don't agree. It's the biggest, like, you gotta do it all the time.
But people don't want to do it because it causes conflict.
It causes conflict, and it also causes, like,
Discomfort. Yeah, because it's uncomfortable for me to say stress. It's uncomfortable for me to say, Kainan, what you just said is completely wrong, man. I don't agree with it. You're gonna be like, wait, what? And then there's gonna be this whole discussion. So,
but that's what's gonna make your friend, our friendship greater.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
but the truth hurts.
Right.
So, are you willing to sacrifice your feeling of comfortableness to hear the truth and better yourself? Because that's the cost of it. That's the cost of a true relationship. Is you're not gonna be satisfied or happy all the time because some of the things that you're gonna hear from your relationships is gonna be, they're gonna point you to your blind spots, those things that you can see in yourself. Look, I'll give you an example. I took a personality test, and before I took the test, the best advice said, you should take it yourself and try to be as unbiased as possible, but you should also get 2 people in your life to take the test as if they were answering for you. Because in some aspects, you're going to be accurate about yourself, but in some aspects, you're going to be so biased.
Yeah.
But those people, they're going to be a little less biased in some aspects, and then you're going to get an overall perspective of who you truly are. So it's so important. That's why I can, let's say, if I analyze all the relationships in your life, I can tell you who you are, because based on them, they reflect you. So
yeah, but like going back to the part you said, like I'm gonna point you the truth. That's why it's so important to kind of, after knowing who you are, who you put in your life, because sometimes these guys are telling you the truth. You know what I mean? Like
judge, it's not longer like a, here, dude, I really think this would benefit your life. That's why I think you should do it. That's why I'm telling you. It's more of just like, here you go, man. Boom. And just bombard.
But like, that's why you find some guys that, like, going back to the guy that told me, like, I chose you to be my friend because of such and such and such. Because this guy is trying or is living it. And if he's pointing you the truth, it's like, are you living that, what you're saying? Because what you're saying doesn't match the way you live. So that's why it kind of like it's like they kind of match. You know what I mean? The guy, you know who you are, the guy who you want to hang out with, or girl you want to hang out with. So like, are they doing what they're saying,
or is it all talk?
It's all talk, and it's pretty much like people talk a lot and they don't live it. It's pretty easy to point like your truth to someone, but like, I don't do anything about it. You know what I mean? So that's why, like, there's gotta be a foundation and everything. Learning who you are, bringing the truth, and like, first of all, before learning who you are, what is the truth? You know what I mean? So like, it's always go back like down and down and down. So like, we gotta.
It's like, before you know how to be good, you need to know
what's
the
good.
Bad.
What's good.
Yeah, and the only way for you to know what's good is to know what's bad.
Right.
And if you're not willing to look at yourself in the mirror and see the bad parts of you, you're never gonna be able to be good for yourself and the people in your life, because you're just running it or putting sand over the bad parts of your personality and who you've become. You need to deal with those things in your past that are bothering you. You can't just forget about it, because you're carrying traits that are in your past and you're bringing that into your relationships, and that may be affecting, right? I remember I watched a person talk. He's like, man, every relationship that I try to do to develop with a girl never works. So he finds a girl, he starts dating with her, but he's coming with that perspective. It's not that every girl doesn't work for him. It's that he himself forces the relationship to happen, because he already believes in that. He says none of these relationships work. So he comes with that posture towards the relationship, and he starts becoming the person that will make the relationship not work.
Right.
So why? Because he's not willing to look himself in the mirror and say, man, maybe I'm messing this relationships up.
Right. And going back as well, like, to when I moved to the U.S., when I got here, I kind of started looking to the relationships I had back in Brazil, and like I kind of see them in a different way. Where were they like my real friends, or they were like kind of like not using me in a way because I have nothing to offer, bro. But like, are they like they want to hang out? They didn't have anyone to hang out or whatever. But like, I just came for like we had a kind of meeting, like a coffee with some guys today, and I had two guys over there where they, bro, they cried and they said they feel they're suffering, bro. They're going through a phase of their lives that they don't have no one to just talk, and it's pretty sad. And I just want to like give you like a perspective. So like, what if the person has no one to reach out to? How do you build this kind of the first friends that you don't have? Because I kind of related with that, because when I moved to the US, I don't like my friends anymore the way they were. Like, you know, I saw myself with my friendships back in Brazil with a different perspective. And how do I start building so what happened was, I'll tell you what happened. So as I didn't change, I kind of saw my relationships and I didn't change myself. The friends that I had were the same. To just change their address, their country, but they were the same that I was having in Brazil, because I didn't change myself. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter, right? So what nothing changes. So what I would like people to do, and like me myself included, is like just get a couple, like your brother, your cousin that you like, someone that you like, your neighbor, bro, whatever. Just let them speak truth to your life. You ask for feedback every day, bro. Do you think I did that today? What do you think about it? Give me your perspective. Because like through these feedbacks, you're gonna kind of like understand who you are, and you kind of know who you want to be already and know what's right. So I think you're gonna become a better person.
Wow, that's so true.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've lost this perspective in this generation in societies. No one really asks for other people's feedback. And if someone says without you asking, you take it always as defensive.
Right, you get angry.
You get angry. They're like, who are you to say? Well, I don't tell you that you do this and this. It's like, okay, man, like the other person has flaws too, but why can't you accept that he's pointing out yours?
Right.
Okay, if their whole goal is to just point out your flaws, I understand. Like, then that just goes to show you that you're not in a good relationship. But even the fact that you're replying by pointing out the other person's flaws shows you that you attracted that relationship in your life,
right.
Because you act exactly like that person acted towards you. So start changing yourself.
That'll be the first step, I think. My personal thought about it, learning who you are, you know, looking to the mirror and say, who am I? What am I doing in my life? What am I looking to? What's my goal? Like, who are my idols? Like, you know what I mean? I'm going after money, work, job, family, relationships,
attention.
You know what I mean? Attention, whatever. Like, and just try to learn like what moves you, what makes you wake up, what it wakes you up.
What gives you purpose?
Right.
What is gonna be? What is it gonna get you off the bed on the days that nothing seems to be going right?
Right.
Because it's okay. You don't need purpose. You don't need motivation when the sun is rising and everything is good. But you're going to need that real reason, that meaning in your life when nothing seems to be going right. So you shouldn't wait for that day to come for you to start making decisions that are according to the purpose of what do you think should be for your life. You should start today when things are good for you so that you don't get crushed and build the foundation, as you said.
Yeah, and like I think and how do you check yourself? You know what I mean? That's like a question as well. Like, how do you know if you're improving or you are choosing the right people? And I want to get to the point where I don't want to, like, whatever I do, I don't want anything in exchange of it. Whatever I do, I just want to give. I'm not expecting for anything back. Like relationship, like anything in my life, I want to give without those expectations. You know what I mean? Because I think it's huge, and I think it's all we do is we move our heads, our thoughts is like always about it. What I'm gonna get from, what I'm gonna back, what I'm getting back from it.
Yeah, but that's why I believe that. That's why I think that 99% of the relationships don't work.
Yeah.
Because as I said, it's like most people are coming with the point of like, what can I get from you? What do you have to offer for me? And it's important. Like, of course, someone needs to like pour life into you, but the fact that you come, that's the posture you have towards the relationships in your life, shows you, just points out the things that you aren't working in yourself, because you want those people to serve you, and you're not willing to serve them. The parameters should be the opposite. It's like, I want to serve you, man. I want to help you become the best version of who I know you can be. I want to be the best brother that I can be, the best husband, the best brother, the best whatever it is, right? Not, are you gonna be the best friend to me? Because then you become your own god. It's like, it's your life is all about you. Then why? But the person that's by themselves, that's their reference point. Life is all about me, because if it's all about me, why do I need people? Why do I need community? I can be by myself.
Yeah, that was funny, because as I said, I just came for like a group, and I was driving on the way here, and I stopped at the sign. There was a guy homeless, right? And I had a cup of coffee, hot cup, just grabbed the coffee, and he was like carrying like whatever, like a sign saying like, I need money. And I said, bro, I don't have money, but I got a cup of coffee if you want it. Oh yeah, he was smoking a cigarette. And I said, hey, what's going on? Why like you're here like it's 10 a.m., 9:30, you're here at the street on Saturday, man, and what's going on? And he said, bro, I had the work, I had the job of my life, and I lost it 2 months ago, and now I'm here on the street. And it just touched me in a way that it can literally see like where his, because like when you think about a relationship with people, but the relationship he had with his work. So he lost it.
It was his idol.
Yeah, he lost it, and right now he's literally on the street because he doesn't have that job anymore. So he lost his entire, like, I don't know, anything.
Yeah, he lost hope because his job was like everything to him. The second
Was his relationship, like
yeah.
the way that he treated it. So it's crazy to see like how people are he's expecting something back from that relationship. So he's offering his life to the job. The job gotta give him something back. It's a relationship if you think about it.
And the second that he saw he poured himself into it and didn't get what he expected in return, he got crushed.
He got crushed and he got fired. I don't know why. Maybe there's a reason, maybe there's not. But like, it's funny to see people like living for nothing, bro. You're living for your work. What are you doing in your life? You know what I mean? So that's another point, I know, but just thought about it.
And what would you say is a habit that you've, applied into your life that has helped you with your relationships?
Yeah, I think like realizing that I am who I hang out with. I am those guys that I spend my time with, and realizing that, and I didn't know that. So realizing it made me have like a more intentional in my friendships, more intentional with the people people I hang out with. And I'm maybe being picky, bro, because I want bigger things for my life. I want to like. Yeah,
I think that it's a lot of people that discourage that, they don't need people in their lives because they haven't found the right ones. You don't just need people; you need the right people.
Right, and like I don't mean by any means that I'm better than someone else. I don't mean by that I pick you, or you're not my friend, you're not good enough to be my friend. But like, I got a point in my life that I kind of understood who I am. You know what I mean? I know my flaws. I know, like, let's say I'm not alcoholic, but let's say I was, and I know that I can't cross the street. I can't go to a bar. You know what I mean? And I won't go. You know what I mean? Because I understood if I go there, trouble is coming.
You're putting yourself back into temptation.
The situation, yeah. So like, why am I gonna hang out with guys who are single? I'm married. I'm not saying I cannot hang out. Does that make sense? So like, those guys who party every weekend, so like they're gonna keep inviting me into in a bad position with my wife who we had a fight, and I'm gonna say yes. So you know what I'm saying? Just know your situation. Knowing who you are is like knowing your weaknesses.
Yeah, it's like I love this example that I've heard. It's like, let's say you're trying to stop eating ice cream. The way to do it is not to leave it in your fridge and tell yourself, I'm gonna have self control. I'm not gonna eat it. The way to not eat it is you're gonna get that existing ice cream and you're gonna throw it in the trash
And toss it, yeah.
and toss it, so that if in case you want it, you need to leave your home to go to the
buy, yeah.
supermarket. So now the temptation is so much harder for you to fall into it. Like, don't put obstacles in your way that don't need to be there.
Right.
I feel like a lot of the obstacles that we put in our lives are we ourselves put it.
Right, but the first thing, like the AA, the meetings they have, the first step is like change your friendships. You know what I mean? Have to change your friendships because you cannot change your habits if you keep the same with the same
Yeah, because
friends.
you're putting yourself in the
Right,
environment. Yeah.
right. You're going back who you are all the time. So that's why going back, like the foundation is like learning who you are, learning your weaknesses, learning what you're good at, and like kind of like choosing and being like, let's say you be straight, like picky with your friends who you do life with.
So what's your favorite book?
Yeah. So like one of my my favorite books ever is it's by C.S. Lewis. It's called Mere Christianity. So I kind of that's kind of that book I learned like who I am. You know what I mean? It was kind of a mirror, like where like it was a type of book that you read it, you don't point like, oh, I see my friend over here. No, I was talking to me, and I could see myself, and I could see like what life is expecting me to be, like literally what God created me to be, and like it kind of start shaping my foundation in a way that I always can like quote this book, and like it was like such important, like I needed that book in that time, so defining a lot of who I am now.
I hear you. It's a great book. I've read it myself. How can people reach you if they want
Bro,
some advice or
I'm a pretty low key guy, you know what I mean? So like, so
Instagram?
Instagram, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on only Instagram. That's the only social media that I use. And like,
And what's your Instagram?
Instagram is my last name and my first name.
So
It's Pires Kainan, Pires Kinan. So
make sure I'll put it in the show notes as
put
well.
it there. And like, if you guys want to follow me, there's not a lot in there, but yeah, if you have any questions about it, if you want to grab a coffee if you're in a Los Angeles area, bro, hit me up. We always chilling. We always like having people around us, and let's do life together, man.
Okay. Perfect, man. It was a great recording with you. I think you shared a lot of value. That's why I wanted to do this. So I appreciate you taking the time of your day to be here today.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Nice to talk to you.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Hey there. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. I highly encourage you to go ahead and take the content in which you have just listened to and apply it into your life. I think it's very important for us as individuals to not just watch or listen to content, but actually get those ideas and concepts and lessons and apply it into our lives. Now, I would also request you to send us feedback. If you've liked today's episode or if you have not, please submit some information and tell us why. And also, if you like to hear about a specific subject, please feel free to message us and we'll go ahead and create content about that specific subject. Or even if you would like me to interview a specific person, make sure to reach me on my social media platforms, whether on my YouTube or my Instagram or my Facebook. I would love to, start a conversation with you and gain some feedback in what you guys are thinking about the podcast. So thank you so much, and I hope you continue working on becoming the best version of yourself.